Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay, indeed, Jimmy. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another wild, crazy edition of Crime and Sports, and we have a crazy edition for you today. Obviously, it's a really just a terrible story, honestly, of a guy just falling apart, and we'll talk all about it, of course, because that's what we do here. Quickly before we do that, also would like to tell you to head over to shutupandgivememurder.com where you can get tickets for live shows. Oh, boy, new live shows up, by the way. An added show in Seattle, an added show in Portland. Cleveland is February 10th, leading off the tour. So get your tickets to that, and this is for Small Town Murder, but get in there, do that. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Also, you can find all your merch and every other damn thing through there. You can do that. Patreon.com/Crime and Sports is where you get all of the bonus episodes. We have tons of bonus episodes, a shitload of them for you to binge. Anybody $5 a month or above, you're going to get all those. You're going to get new episodes every other week, 2 new episodes, as a matter of fact. 1 Crime and Sports, 1 Small Town Murder, and you get it all. For Crime and Sports this week, we are going to talk about, well, the rise of the biggest thing in the world, honestly. It's fantasy sports. We're going to talk about
It's crazy. Yeah.
How it started and how it ended up going from this backroom thing with like journalists doing it because they knew the stats and stuff to the major cause of divorce in America. Like, how did that happen? And the reason why people don't pay attention to their kids. Shut up. I've got to see if...
The reason for 4 months a year, Daddy doesn't take you to the park.
Yeah. I need Kirk Cousins to get 27 points today. Shut the fuck up. I have to beat this guy at work so I can brag all year about it. That's what it is. It's crazy. And then first... It's what it is, though. It's all it's for.
It's so funny.
Then for
it's
Small
so
Town...
funny when you say it out loud.
You're right. When you condense it to what it really is, it's like, well, that's silly. Jesus.
That's stupid.
For Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about a very interesting thing. Kai the hatchet-wielding hitchhiker.
Oh, yeah.
There is a Netflix documentary right now, which when I planned this episode, I did not know there was a Netflix documentary. This was
really?
this was this crazy guy who's got a crazy story, and we'll talk all about it. The guy's nuts. He looks like Sideshow Bob. Talks about attacking a guy with a hatchet, and then much worse things happen about 3 weeks later. So we'll talk all about that. That is patreon.com/crime and sports. And you'll, of course, get a shout out at the end of the show. Because, goddamn it, we're excited and we want to talk about it. So there you go. That said, I think it's time to do this now.
Let's get into it.
Get into this. Oh, man, it's a cowboy here. Oh, the new show, too. I want to plug the new show that's coming out. Yeah,
Let's
it'll be out end of February, beginning of March, called Your Stupid Opinions. It's a new show that we're doing, a weekly show. We cannot wait. Where if you listen to Small Town Murder, you know there's a reviews section where we read people's reviews of the town. Yeah. And usually that's the funniest thing in the town stuff ever because people's reviews are nuts. They really are. So this show is going to be reviews of everything you can imagine. We're going to talk about it. We did a bonus episode. It's anything from the diner in the Newark airport to a sleazy rural motel in Missouri somewhere where you can hear about the same razor blade being found months apart by the different people. And anything. Could be a cross-stitching class outside Fresno. Could be anything. We're going to find out, hear what people complain about. Your stupid opinions. Look out for that. All right, now let's talk about our guy of the week here. Let's do it. Last week, we, of course, had our lady of the week, and we don't have a lot of ladies. So that was nice, talking about Evelyn Stevens and her basically kind of a Sally McNeil prototype.
Really? Yeah.
Killed her
It was very
bodybuilder
similar.
husband.
Yeah.
It's a very similar situation. This is a totally different story. We're going to talk about Golden Richards.
Oh.
Do you know who
his
Golden
first name?
Richards is? Well, it's his middle name. His name is John Golden Richards.
Okay.
Now, if you're a football player with very blonde hair that comes out of the back of your helmet, do you go by John?
No.
Or do you go by John Richards? Or do you say, "Hi, Golden here"? That's your
John
guess.
Richards. That's a bad name.
John Richards you hire as your accountant. You go, "Okay, John, it's year
That is
end. What
toilet
should I?"
mix. That's what that is.
We need
John
write-offs
is a
or what? But Golden Richards, my God,
That's pretty solid. Yeah.
sounds like a Greek god, doesn't it? It sounds like
or a porn
sounds like a
actor.
surfer. You know, Golden Richards, oh man, he's the best. And then he got into porn afterwards, too. It was wild. We were expecting it because by the time he came in from the surf, you could see his cock was hanging out the bottom of his shorts. So he said, "Man, this guy's got a career when this is over." And he did. So Golden Richards, born December 31st, 1950. So New Year's Eve, baby, here. Born in Salt Lake City, Utah. And he is a Mormon, devout Mormon family in Salt Lake City. Very blonde people. This is a blonde, a gaggle of blondes here. Best way to put it. So he was all, and when he's a kid and like all in high school and stuff, no alcohol, no tobacco, no any of that stuff.
No caffeine.
Very Mormon. Yeah, I mean, he was going by all the rules. He went to Granite High School, which we'll talk about. His family had 5 brothers and a sister, so 7 kids, which is you're kind of slacking off for especially for Mormons back then.
Dad.
Jesus Christ, lazy. Mom probably had thin hips. That's what it was. Thin, just real, not good childbearing hips.
Real narrow gal.
Dad shooting blanks, Pony hit 35. I don't know what happened, but something bad's going on there. So
Did he get a vasectomy and didn't tell her?
yeah, I mean, he still had 2 kids afterwards. It came through, but he was trying to have 7. So so they weren't rich people. They lived pretty modestly. Which unless you're rich and if you have 7 kids, you're living modestly.
Yeah,
because kids are expensive. I can't imagine
boy.
7 of them, for Christ's sake.
2's too much for me.
Yeah, he also has his brothers have interesting names too. His one brother's name is Sterling.
They always do this, James.
Sterling, and then his other brother's name is Royal. So he's got Royal, Sterling, Golden. Strange.
Middle-class family? What the fuck?
I don't get it. It's Sterling. Like there's Sterling and Golden.
Chicago stripper?
Yes, Sterling Golden sounds like a Chicago stripper, and so does Sterling Richards sounds like a Sterling. The word Sterling is I see tassels and tits happening right there. Don't you? I don't know what her act is, but it's something. So, by the way, I love how an old, like if you watch like an 80s movie and they go to a strip club, strippers every stripper had an act back then. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like every stripper had like a character that they came out as. Like one would be like a cowgirl. The next one would come out like dressed like a coal miner or some shit and strip off her overall.
Fireman girl.
They all had a fucking character. Like you had to be like, well, I got to get my costume ready. And it wasn't just like a latex bra with like your tits hanging out. That wasn't a costume. You had to
Bing.
Yeah, no, you had to have a whole thing.
Whole thing. Yeah.
Here she comes.
And then you dance to a specific song that goes with your gimmick, and you're a wrestler.
which is very strange because they realize they don't need to do that now with guys. They were like, oh, if we just show the guys tits, they'll come anyway. They don't care. They don't care what she is out there. They just care that she's nude up here. Whereas women's strip clubs, like you always see, like saw the Chippendales documentary, and they all like they all have like a character because that's part of what women are looking for. They're like, oh, he's a fireman and he's muscular, but the fireman adds something extra on that side. But for us, we're like, we don't care if she cured cancer. We want to see tits. We don't give a shit what she did. She split the atom? Great. Oh, she's a fucking moron with an 83 IQ? Terrific, too. We don't fucking care. It's not why we're here.
The male stripper's always got to be a public servant. You know,
some sort of
got to be a guy that's
strong,
too hot for his own good and earning under his wage potential.
But he's definitely ready to pop, though. He's definitely ready to fucking come out of his shell here. So.
You'd fuck him if he was homeless. Look at him. He's hot.
Look at him. Oh, my God. Jesus. He could be. You don't know.
He might be.
He could have got this costume from backstage. He could have borrowed it. We have no idea.
And the ladies are the same way. Maybe that's why we like him, just to show us her tits, because we're like, we'd fuck you if you only owned a thong, and that's it.
Well, yeah. Well, men don't care.
Just show us her tits.
If a man walks into a 7-Eleven and there's a hot chick behind the counter, they're like, oh, I'm trying to get this chick. Whereas it's not the same thing. We don't care what they bring to the table like that way. It's not part of it. It's just not. It's not part of how our brains work. Because we're short-range thinkers. We're not thinking clearly.
And money generally doesn't make us come.
No, at all. We don't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
If we have it, it does. But if someone else does, we're like, oh, that doesn't make it.
I don't care what they have.
I don't care what they have. So that's the family we're talking about. Mormons with stripper names. All right. So stripper named Mormons.
Terrific.
Royal Richards is also a porn name. That's a guy here.
Royal Golden and Sterling. Are there more that are ridiculous? Like
Those
Mormons love to name their kids bizarre shit, though.
Yeah, well, I guess there's so many kids, so you maybe want to try to individualize them at least with names.
It's different, yeah.
You call a kid fucking John, and you're like, oh, great, you're one of 18 children at home, and all these kids, you're all blonde, you all look alike, and half of you are named John. Terrific. This is great. That's got to be blend into the group here. Those are the only ones I know of that are strange. I assume that the newspaper article...
If you got 3 of the 7, they're all weird.
But I mean, I assume that the article would have said what the other strange ones were if it had it. I think maybe the only 3 of them are strange, and then they got
maybe. Or the article was like Sterling, Golden. You get the idea.
You get it. You know what they're fucking doing
you know
here.
What's going on here?
You see these people, don't you? Okay. So, he meets Barbara Lynn Johnson when they're in the 8th grade.
Okay.
Young love here. They don't date though until their senior year of high school. Because, I don't know. I think you have to. I was going to say, I don't know if you have to be engaged to date. And that was, I don't know how it worked. In the 60s in fucking Utah, I have no idea how it worked. That could be, I have no clue. So Mormons now, yes, you're still weird, but I'm not. I'm making fun of your weirdness 50 years ago, which is a whole other level of weird. You've gotten
weird that you've gotten a little more away from, but not enough.
If 1968 weird's a 10, you're still at a 6. Don't get me wrong, but you've said that black people aren't black because God hates them now and shit like that. You've backed away from stuff like that. Right. Yeah, you've backed away from some of the weirder stuff. You've said, hey, one wife only. Seriously, no, wink, wink, but seriously, one wife only. Like things like that. You've tried to.
Leaned into naming your children Talmadge. It's fucking weird stuff.
Yeah, so you've gone with Golden. So he meets Barbara Lynn Johnson. They date then. He's very busy with sports, and she is a model also, so she does modeling outside of all this. So they're both very busy. He's not able to play football when he's younger, or his parents tell him he's not allowed to play football. Yeah. We don't know. They say they didn't want him to play football because he had to do other things. They also say at certain points that they couldn't afford to have him play football because there's a lot of kids and couldn't afford to have them all in sports. So his mother didn't like the idea of him coming home, bloodied and less blonde.
Oh, sure,
you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah,
his older brother bought him a uniform because he needed it to play and hid it under a bush for him so he'd go play. And never told the mom, so he'd go play football and had his
dirty uniform back in the picker.
His brother would
get it tomorrow.
Yeah, his brother would get it for him. So that's kind of neat. And then once he became a really good player, like for school teams later on, then he obviously had to tell his parents because he was in the newspaper for catching a touchdown pass. You can't exactly say, I don't know what you're talking about. It's a different Golden Richards that goes to my school.
Also, there's a road game this week in Boise, so I'm not going to be home for a while.
I'm not going to be here. So he used to play. He played a bunch of sports too. He's a really good basketball player, a baseball player. He's about 6 foot tall. When he's in the NFL, he's about 180 pounds. So not a big guy, decent sized guy, but very, very, very fast. Speedy guy. He played baseball in high school, and then he would jump the fence and go around the field and go be in track competitions.
Wow.
So he said sometimes it would be in his baseball uniform. He'd be doing track shit because they cutting it close. Yeah, cutting it close like that. So he, didn't drink, smoke, chew tobacco, didn't curse, any of that stuff.
Wild. Yeah.
Just wild, right? Can you imagine?
How do you not just get frustrated one day?
I don't understand it.
Your credit card's declined, you got your kids there. How do you not just go, fuck?
I mean, I guess if you're happy enough to just be fine with that, then good for you. You're probably very, very stable. It's just nobody I grew up with fits into this category. You know what I'm saying? At all.
But a lot of Mormons will say other words for the word, so it's like you're kind of swearing.
If you're using euphemisms, if you're getting the point across, then you're putting the thought out. So what are you doing?
If you say frickin' or friggin' or fudgin', you're saying the same thing.
Yeah, but in a more embarrassing way because you're a fucking adult.
Because you're an adult. Don't say that. It's a good way to get your ass kicked in public. You better take it easy.
No shit. He has. In this newspaper article, he has shoulder-length golden hair in high school there. He won track meets all the times. He would win the long jumps. He would do – he was really good. He's also played shortstop on the baseball team, which means he was, the best fielder. So he did well there. He's a shooting guard in basketball, which is also good. He also plays golf. He's pretty good. He's a good athlete. Yeah, he's a really good athlete. I found in 1967, so he's like a junior in high school here. I found him going 10 for 17 at the foul line and having 24 points in a basketball game.
Well, he better go harder in 1967 if he wants to avoid going to to Vietnam.
10 of 17 at the foul line. Yeah.
That's not good enough.
No, it's really not. So, he's a good basketball player. I'm saying he has not a good foul shooter, though.
No.
So he said that he used to try to hide weights in his pants at weigh-ins for games because he said, I only weighed a little over 160, and I knew they didn't want any 159-pound football players in college, so I had to get myself up to 170. So he'd do that. Here's an article. We're going to read some excerpts, and later on a large excerpt from this really incredible thing this guy wrote. His name is Joel Reese. You can see his work at Joel C. Reese, REESE.com. And he wrote a paper. Golden Richards is his childhood hero. He was his favorite player as a child. And he later on, much later, after a bunch of weird shit happens to Golden, as we'll talk about, he meets up with Golden to interview him. And, he went to the University of Montana and he's writing his senior thesis on, is it a good thing to meet your heroes kind of a thing.
Oh, yeah.
So he went to meet Golden Richards and has an epic couple days with this guy that's just like, wow, mind-boggling, and wrote an amazing paper. And if you want to hear the whole story of that, I, implore you, please do that. So he did that, but this guy wrote, Jimmie. He writes about Golden, and we're going to take a lot of excerpts from that over the course of it, and I'll let you know when that is. But in high school, Golden is playing for the Granite Farmers. That's the name of the high school team. He's football, baseball, football, basketball, track, and everything else. And he kills it in track. He's just the colleges want him just as much for track as football.
Oh.
Because it's, like Bo Jackson was the same way. They wanted Herschel Walker back in the day. They were also track stars. So 1969, he ends up going to BYU, and he's a redshirt his freshman year. His sophomore year, he actually plays, and he's good right away. So he's playing for Brigham Young University, the hometown Mormon school, and all that kind of shit. So he, in 70, the team was bad back then. They were like 3-8. They sucked, but he was really good. 36 receptions, 512 yards, averaging 14.2 per reception. So that's pretty good for a sophomore on a 70s college team. By the way, that's leading the team in receptions and yards too. He's the main guy.
And a bad team.
on a shit team. I'm sure wasn't good at throwing,
Probably had a bad line, and that the quarterback probably running for his life. So to get 500 yards out of him on the season is not bad.
Not bad. And from what I understand, they were a run-heavy offense too. So because back then most of them were, there was a few that were passers, but I don't think BYU was probably the flashiest of the group. Come on, guys, let's go out there and show some swagger, eh? Come on. Let's
Talmadge
go.
Deep to Talmadge and intercepted.
Pop those garments and show them what you're made of, guys. Let's go. Pop it out. So 1971, I find he's at a track meet there. So he was on the BYU track team, and he won 3 first places with wins in the 100-yard dash and the 180-yard low hurdles and the long jump.
Wow.
So he's killing it. He's a crazy good athlete. That's the thing.
He's fast even with hurdles.
Crazy fast and good jumping and just a good athlete. So the next year he plays in 11 games, only has 14 receptions for 287 yards, but averages 20.5 per reception, which is pretty big. It's a lot. So that's leading the team, by the way. 14 receptions leads the team.
That's hilarious.
Think about that. In 11 games.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Not even 2 a game.
That's fucking crazy. Barely won a game. So he also had 33 punt returns for 624 yards and 4 touchdowns, which was huge. That's a big deal. He's dangerous. You know what I mean?
And touchdowns.
Well, he was first in the nation in punt returns and 16th in all-purpose yards in the whole nation. 100-something teams. He set 4 NCAA records for most punt return yards, 219 against North Texas State in a game. And also most kickoff returns in a game as well. So, and he was all the WAC conference. He's the Western Athletic Conference. He's all WAC that year. But he says that he doesn't like the run-centric offense of BYU because he only has 14 receptions. So he's transferring to Hawaii.
Oh.
Going to Hawaii, which couldn't be any more different than Utah, honestly.
Rainbow Warriors, going there.
Going there. He's moving there. He says that's what it was. BYU coach Lavelle Edwards disagrees, though. He says he left, quote, "It was grades. He had difficulty keeping his eligibility because he didn't attend classes conscientiously. He flunked out of school." That's
shit.
It's a little bit of a different way here.
Run heavy. Why don't you run to class, motherfucker?
Yeah. How about run to How about if we throw you the ball in math class? Can you get it then? Can you catch it and take it to math class? Tell you what, class is a touchdown. How's that? Does that work for you? So 1972 BYU press guide says, quote, "It's the unexpected losses that are painful, and the Cougars experienced a major setback with the departure of Golden Richards, an academic casualty." So that's the story the school had even back then. It's not like revisionist history.
They didn't put it in fucking newspaper.
No, they put it in the press guide, for Christ's sake. They gave it to everybody so all the announcers can go, "Oh, it's a shame they don't have Golden Richards anymore. Flunked out of school." Anyway, moving on.
Academic casualty that's a very soft way of saying dumb as shit or refuses
lazy,
to participate.
Just lazy, just not into it. So academic casualty. So that Joel C. Reese guy, here's an excerpt from his deal. He said, quote, "I asked him about the grades." This is obviously much later, asking Golden Richards about it. And Golden said, "I've heard that. It's a bunch of bullshit." So, yeah, he's...
What'd you say?
By then, he is... That Mormon shit has gone... I mean, he might still be Mormon, but... No. This is... Don't worry. This is after, 4 overdoses and everything else. So I think it loosens up at that point.
There's something loose in there.
Yeah, when you're yelling at paramedics to get the Pulp Fiction fucking poker and get in there on you, I think at that point curses are going to come out.
Hilarious.
He said that it's a bunch of bullshit. I had a B average and 23 more credits than I needed as a junior. So in fact, he's saying he was a scholar. He says
I'm smart and above and beyond.
That's a verifiable fact, he said. Then Reese says, "I told him that the BYU press guide does verify a fact, but not in his way." And Golden said, quote, "Look, why would I be eligible at Hawaii and not BYU? They're in the NCAA. It doesn't make any sense." That's what Golden says. But then he looked into it, Reese, and said there's a provision at the University of Hawaii because it's way the fuck out there.
Yeah.
they give them special kind of a few concessions.
His left behind thing out there.
So people can go there. And so
Right.
it says that athletes who transferred there didn't have to sit out a year before playing as they do at most schools.
Got
So he could go there and the school stuff didn't matter. So it's whatever. So 1972, he had torn ligaments in his knee by the end of this year. That'll kind of fuck him up, but he's recovering. He is running. They have an Olympic gold medal winning sprinter in practice, and he's running him to ties.
Wow.
Like he's that fast. Really, really good. He's running back kickoffs and punts and all this type of shit. But then in November, he has his knee injury and has some surgery on it. So to clean his knee injury up here. But he does make the all coast college football first team. The UPI, United Press International's Little All Coast. That's the league Hawaii was in, I guess, at that point. So he caught 23 passes for 414 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Oh.
Before going down to a knee injury, which is pretty good. He only played in like 5 games. So he was doing great.
He's part of it.
Yeah, I mean it's very surprising that someone would go from BYU to Hawaii, but not as surprising as the sales, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Oh, the sales.
Hawaii? Oh,
if you
God.
happen to be in Honolulu, Hawaii,
Oh, shit.
and it happens to be December 1st, 1972, if you're walking around you're reading the Honolulu Star Bulletin, as I was here from 72, you're going to see.
Same prices as today here?
No, yeah, probably, yeah. Eggs, $12 a dozen. So we have here an amazing card to go see here for boxing. You're gonna go see some boxing. I found some boxing here. First up in the evening, Alberto Cabanig is gonna fight Hisao Nishi Nishi. Now, I think Nishi, I looked it up, and the first guy he ever fought, his name was Lobster. The man's name was Lobster. So,
or he just fought a lobster.
That's pretty good. It says under this, Cabanig is a Filipino action fighter. Nishi is great puncher from Japan. That's what it says here. Yeah. So it's giving you a little prelim. And then the main event, Jimmy. Oh, baby. It says Grudge Fight Spectacular. All right. Grudge Fight Spectacular. It is Jose Lujan, whose ears are enormous. It looks like he picks up satellite signals from this shit. Versus Buzzsaw Yamambe.
Yamambe.
Yamabe, not Yamambe.
Okay. I want it to be Yamambe.
Yamambe. Buzzsaw Yamambe. Buzzsaw Yamambe.
Okay. Are these any good?
He's I think he was like 16-7 in his career or something. I looked this up. Yeah. But it says Lujan has a unanimous win over Yamambe. Grudge Fight Spectacular. That's what they're advertising. They have pictures of these guys. Look at these guys. Well, just roll your fucking chair over. What am I doing? Look at this.
Yeah, is that Buzz? Oh, that's Lujan. Oh, and look at Buzzsaw. He looks 11.
He looks like an 11-year-old Asian kid. And then we have...
He's a Buzzsaw? Okay.
That's a Buzzsaw. And here's the other two.
I'd watch... This looks so old. It looks like the 20s, man.
And then it says plus action prelims. So those are the good fights that we got there. From there, head over to the Cam Drive-In Swap Meet. With over 10,000 bargains. So there's that after that.
Over 10,000 bargains.
Over 10,000 bargains where you can get some zesty soft pretzels.
I didn't know you could put a number on how many bargains were at.
Over 10,000 bargains.
For Christ's sake.
Well, how many bargains you got there? Well,
over 10 grand.
Let me let you know. It says sellers $2, buyers 35 cents, I guess, to get in.
Oh, to be that.
So 35 cents to access 10,000 bargains. You know what? 10,001 bargains, I'm going to say. Because that's a bargain, mister.
Those might be 2 of the bargains.
That's 2 of the bargains. We concluded that in the over 10,000 bargains. So 1973 is when he is eligible to go to the NFL. Golden says he doesn't think he's going to be drafted because he had the knee injury and he was in Hawaii, kind of off the radar. First number 1 overall pick, 1973 NFL draft. Jimmie, you nailed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar the other week. I was proud of you for that.
1973?
73.
Johnny Unitas?
He's like 1955, Johnny Unitas.
I was close.
57 or something. No. John
Jim
Matuzak.
Oh, the twos.
John Matuzak. Do you know who he is?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You know him very well because he is Sloth from Goonies.
Oh.
Yes, he played on the Raiders later on.
Number 1 pick?
Yep, number 1 pick. He's a defensive end. Houston picked him number 1. Ends up being a very good player for the Raiders later on and in a shitload of movies, too. So Matuzak was in a lot of things. Number 2, Burt Jones, who was Baltimore quarterback for a long time. Jerry Sizemore. Wow. Jerry Sizemore was the guy. Number 3 overall. Do you remember the Lawrence Taylor episode? We were talking about that Eagles offensive lineman who said that Taylor just like walked over him and he said, "Well, I got to retire." And it was the end of it.
Him?
That's Jerry Sizemore. That's the guy.
Picked third.
4th is John Hanna, who's a Hall of Fame guard for the New England Patriots for a long fucking time. So, first round, who else? Oh, Darryl Stingley, who broke his neck, is also first round here. So, a lot of very familiar names. Chuck Foreman.
Maybe the best story of post-NFL life ever.
It's interesting.
It's pretty funny.
Ray Guy, Hall of Famer there, the punter. He was a first-round punter, so that was a crazy year, this draft.
First round punter?
Punter, first round. Isn't that wild? Wow. That's why it was such a crazy thing. Al Davis is nuts, but then Ray Guy became like the best punter in the history of the NFL. So a good punter is very valuable. That's the thing.
It is, yeah.
A guy who, especially one like him, he was above and beyond. He was fucking amazing.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a micro-city built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
So after that second round here, what is this? Number 46 overall, second round, the Dallas Cowboys select Golden Richards.
Is that right?
Absolutely, they do. And then they got Harvey Martin a few picks later, who was a Super Bowl co-MVP after that. So really good draft for them. The Tex Schramm, who ran the Cowboys forever, he was the general manager and president for, 29 years?
Jesus.
He said that he saw the game against North Texas State where Golden ran all those punts back and shit. He saw that game, and he said that he was awed by his speed. Cowboys, like the Raiders, are always looking for 40 times. Right. And he said, we were always looking for speed in receivers, and Golden had that speed. He said he was so fast, and he could use it on the football field. That's an important difference between a track man and a football player. Some can't use their speed on the field, but he could. Right. He was good. And Bullet Bob Hayes is a guy who didn't even play fucking football, and the Cowboys drafted him. He was an Olympic sprinter.
Is that right?
Back in the day, and the Cowboys drafted him in like the 15th round just to see if maybe he wanted to play football, and he ended up being on their team for over a decade. Was a great player. Fast as
Seems
fuck.
to make a little more money than Olympics.
Yeah.
Only every 4 years.
That's the thing. So Bob Hayes, who was still on the team, he said he was stunned that the Cowboys selected a receiver that high. He's like, I can't believe that. They asked Golden, can you believe he got drafted in the second round by the Cowboys? How do you feel about it? He said, quote, I was absolutely stunned. So stunned seems to be the word of the day here going around.
Yeah.
He said, I had told my dad before the draft that I didn't think I'd be drafted, but if I could just get the opportunity to be a free agent, I would be happy, like a walk-on that tries to make the team. All I wanted was a chance. If I had told my dad that I wanted to get to the moon first, he would have supported me 100%. So I guess his family's supportive is what he's getting at.
More into the space race?
I think he's I think he was going to be an astronaut, and then he changed his mind. He's like, oh, I have to go to more school for that? Jesus. So 73 Cowboys here. They're 10-4 that year. Tom Landry, the coach with the hat and all that shit. They beat the Rams in the first round of the playoffs, lose to the Purple People Eater Vikings in the championship game. This is the Roger Staubach that's that team. Calvin Hill at running back, and,
Historic.
Craig Morton was their backup quarterback then.
Is that right?
The future Bronco Super Bowl loser. Yeah. So Golden that year, 12 games he plays in, doesn't start any. He's a rookie receiver on a good team, a good established team. He has 6 receptions for 91 yards, but he's also a punt returner, so he's doing that. He meets Hollywood Henderson, as we know about we did an episode, if you don't know, on Hollywood Henderson, who forcibly face-fucked a quadriplegic, as we know of as one of his things.
He raped a quad's face.
And he also figured out new and innovative ways to do cocaine while playing. So that's literally while he was on the field. Not, I'm saying
Bad guy.
at the same time. Hollywood said, quote, I always wondered, was that his real name or his stage name about Golden Richards?
Oh, because of Hollywood, yeah.
Because, he said, quote, they loved him in Dallas. He was Golden Richards. He had a choice of women he could see. A choice of women he could see.
Why does Hollywood seem so jealous?
He loves it. He said the golden boy from Paul Hornig, the ex-Packer, to him, always been kind of a wonderment for white athletes, that one golden boy thing. Right. He said with a name like Golden, being the golden wide receiver on America's team, he fit perfectly. So he said he got a lot of yeehaw pussy down there in Dallas is what he's talking about.
Real popular at the stockyards, you know what I mean?
If you know what I'm saying there. Real popular down there. So 1974 in July, he has plenty of women to choose from, and he chooses to marry Barbara, his high school sweetheart here.
From Utah.
Yeah, from Utah. Mm-hmm. He marries her. He joins the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization. Wow. He's active in the Special Olympics. He active at the West Texas Boys Ranch, which is a charitable thing that he's doing out there. He's blonde. Everybody thinks he's all handsome. He's catching passes for the Cowboys. He's got a nice personality. He's not a dumb guy. Good with little quips and shit like that. Like, he's the public relations dream in Dallas. Is exactly what they want to show people here. So he gets married to Barbara in July after his rookie season there, right before training camp. Here he goes in, a married man. So 1974, the Cowboys are 8-6, not as good that year. Golden, though, starts 13 games, plays in all 14, 26 receptions, 467 yards, 18 yards per reception, which is dangerous. That means he's a deep threat. Right. That's pretty good. He has 5 touchdowns. He's fucking killing it. He's damn good. So 75, Cowboys go 10-4 again. They beat the Vikings in the first round of the playoffs, beat the Rams in the second round here in the championship, go all the way to the Super Bowl against the Steelers, and fucking lose the game.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do?
That's the game where the ball bounced off that poor tight end's chest in the end zone. It hit him right between the numbers and bounced off, and they lost the Super Bowl.
Whoops.
And the announcer went, he's got to be the sickest man in America right now. It's like, yeah, you think? It hit him in the chest, bounced off. He watched it with this look on his face like, how is that ball not in my hands? And then punched the ground with both hands and straightened out stiff as a corpse on the ground, wanting to die.
The announcer says those words with his family
He's got to
watching.
be the sickest man in America while he's laying stiff as a board on the fucking field, looking like if the ground could just soak me up right now and take me down to be fucking nutrients for this grass, I would be happy with that.
It would be better than having to talk to Landry after this.
God damn it. Fuck.
Tex is going to kill me.
Shit. So Golden has a good year, though. Plays all 14 games, 21 receptions, 451 yards, 21.5 per reception. Yeah. Amazing. 76, they're 11-3, but they lose in the first round of the playoffs to the Rams. So not great there. Golden, though, good year, 21.8 yards per reception. Okay. So the guy is dangerous. He also copyrighted the name.
Golden? Or Golden
copyrighted
Richards?
it. Yeah, Golden Richards.
Okay.
Golden Richards is copyrighted.
I think you're the only one, dude. Don't worry.
It was a publicity stunt. Yeah. That's like when a famous actress insures her ass from. It's just a publicity stunt. What is someone going to come and chop her ass off? It doesn't cover. Wear and tear. It doesn't cover just sagging when you're 50. That's if someone literally came and said, "I'm going to take your ass from you" and cut it off with a machete. Which doesn't happen often.
Car accident just loses her ass only.
My ass has never been the same, man. I went to Nam and they took half my ass. I've never heard that before.
No.
Not the usual injury.
Not a common thing to say.
No. So 1977, quickly, 12-2 for the Cowboys. They beat the Bears in the first round of the playoffs, a rare playoff appearance for the Bears back then because they were terrible in the 70s. Beat the Vikings in the second round and then beat the Broncos. Old Craig Morton in the Super Bowl, 27-10. And Golden catches a beautiful touchdown pass in the Super Bowl.
Is that right?
That makes him very well known for this catch with his blonde hair flapping behind him and all that poor shit. So that year, he also, drugs begin to really become a big part of his life this year.
They start to take hold.
Yeah, they talk about his ribs are always hurting, his back's always sore. Yeah. He's a wide receiver and not a particularly large physical one.
Sure.
Getting knocked around.
In an era where you can murder people almost.
But yeah, back then you could go up, jump for a ball, and a guy could go, "Oh, great," and take your legs out and make you spin like a fucking helicopter, and that was considered good play.
Matter of fact, that was Jack Tatum's job.
Yeah. You could hit a guy the second the ball touched him. Not like now where you have to wait for him to catch it, then make a spin move, and then you're allowed to then it's a one-on-one competition. Fucking stupid. So he does that. He gets a lot of hits to the head. He had a lot of dental problems from getting hit in the face.
Oh, really?
And knocking teeth in different ways and cracking shit and having shit come in his helmet and under the face mask. Back then, guys would go under the face mask and punch you in the face and do shit like that.
And just the hit alone would knock your teeth together so hard you'll crack one.
Yeah, he had, 7 different times he had to have root canals to repair damage from blows to the face from playing. You could clothesline back then. It was legal to a guy could catch a ball running full speed, running across the field, and the instant his fingers touched the ball, you could clothesline him in the face. Literally perfectly legal back then.
It's why Darryl Stingley was in a fucking wheelchair.
It's fucking intense, man. So he had to do all this shit. After one of the root canals, I guess his teeth, something else was wrong with his teeth. The dentist said you should get caps on your teeth, but there was another problem. He kept having his teeth getting filed down.
Jesus. And
during all this dental work, he got his first prescription for Percodan.
Yeah.
And Barbara says, quote, this is his wife, "Golden could never tolerate pain. For him, all the dental work was unbearable." So he says that pain wasn't even the issue because he knew a cowboy-friendly pharmacist.
Yeah.
So he didn't even have to have pain. He said, "When I first started getting busted up bad, I started using Percodan. There was no prescription. Dallas Cowboys didn't need that in those days. You can just walk in and go, 'Yeah, man, what do you got for me?' And they just toss you some pills."
Right.
He said there was a pharmacist. All the players knew him. For 2 tickets to a game, he gave you free reign in his candy store.
Wow.
And this is normal. The team would have thanked him for that. The team would have said, "Oh, thanks for taking care of our guys back then." Not
2 tickets to a game, and we just get whatever we want.
That's what they used to do back then, though. I'm sure they had to pay for it like a drug dealer, but they were allowed to buy it. Right. So that back then they talk about, like in the 70s and 80s on football teams, the trainer would go up and down the aisle of the plane just handing out handfuls of pills, and guys just take them. They don't even know what they're taking. Right. Just pop them. It was like in the USFL, the Houston Gamblers had a giant syringe in their dressing room, in the fucking locker room.
You just
a giant
and grab pills out of it.
No. A 5-foot tall syringe, like because they're all on so many steroids.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
That's
like a joke.
Is a joke. What movie was that? There's a movie where a kid goes, one of those colleges, everybody's on steroids movies.
Probably
where
symptoms. The Simpsons.
No, I think it was the program or one of those fucking
Did
movies.
they have one in it? A syringe?
It's one of those movies had like a big syringe. Oh, it was Johnny Be Good with Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh, okay.
You had a big syringe in the fucking locker room. That's after the Gamblers, which was actually
as decor.
As decor.
Yeah.
Because, we all shoot up a lot. So Golden said that the Cowboys, he doesn't say they forced pills down his throat, but he said that he thought it was better to take them and play than to not take them and not be able to play.
Not a bad argument.
He said, when I was hurting, which was often, I was told you can sit out a week or we'll give you an anti-inflammatory drug to control the swelling and something else to control the pain. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he says, understand I'm an athlete trained to compete. At noon on Sunday, it was important to be there when the bell rang. We called kickoff showtime. Being right for showtime, well, that was all that mattered.
Yeah.
That's it.
Look, I don't begrudge him at all for taking pills for dental pain. Is probably
it's brutal.
The worst
it's fucking
kind
horrible.
You
can't eat. You can't do anything.
Your whole head.
You can't do anything.
Yeah, it hurts your whole head. It makes you drool. It's the fucking worst.
If you can't eat or talk, you're not a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
you're right.
If you're used to eating and talking, it's tough.
And if you can take a pill to fix that,
feel
and
like
then all of a sudden I don't feel my knee either, I might fucking keep going too.
And now when I run, it doesn't hurt anymore.
Mm-hmm.
His wife said as it went on, he needed more and more pills as it goes. And she said, quote, he had a great fear of losing his starting position.
Yeah,
absolutely. We were talking about this earlier. But then that was compounded by the fear that he would be exposed. He couldn't tell anyone about his problems. There was such a tremendous amount of pressure for maintaining an image. He was one of the fair-haired boys on America's team. Right. So he couldn't come out and say, I'm a drug addict. That would fuck up all the PR. So she said she pled with him to try to stop, and, he told her that he would stop, but then he wouldn't. She'd find pills hidden around the house. Even when there was no apparent injuries, he was still taking pills. Off season with no dental work, he's just popping pills. She said the pills he took after practice made him drowsy and lethargic. In the middle of the night, she would wake up periodically to wake him and turn him over and check on him to make sure he was
still alive,
still breathing and not choking on his vomit. So she said he was taking so much, he was consumed. I was afraid. I just wanted to make sure he was still breathing. That's
poor bastard. That's deep, man.
Mm-hmm. I feel bad for her. That's tough. That's tough to live with. So the year they won the Super Bowl in the championship game against the Vikings, he caught a 32-yard touchdown pass. That was a big deal. So in both games, he had big touchdown catches. After the game, he was he was celebrating and all that kind of shit. And then he said he started weeping out uncontrollably outside the stadium.
Yeah.
He said, quote, I had to pull off to the side of the road. I had decided to get help after the season. I knew then it would be 2 more weeks of propagating my addiction. I cried my heart out. He said that he would, then the Super Bowl was coming up, though.
Right.
So he goes to the Super Bowl, and he got the touchdown pass, and it was a 29-yard pass. So he was very happy about that. He says, people always think of that game as the highlight of my career, but it wasn't. Every game I played was the highlight. Having my mates hold me up in the huddle when I had just gotten nailed and the wind knocked out of me, that was the highlight. The camaraderie of the game, every game, that was the highlight. Having my teammates hold me up so I could fucking regain my consciousness.
My teammates parading a junkie.
Wow. And a concussed junkie. So the NFL has no drug policy. There's no anything. They just sweep it under the rug as the drug policy. Right. And so he just kept doing it. He said, I never took drugs to get high, is one thing he said. I took drugs because I couldn't stand the pain. At first, that's true. Yeah. But then after a while, he didn't have pain and he just took drugs to get high. So he said no matter how much everything hurt, he had to get out there. That's just the way it was. He said the organization, or one of the doctors later on, one of his doctors said, the organization knew there was a dependency. We tried to help, but a person has to want help, and he did not. Okay. That's fair. Roger Staubach, Hall of Fame, All-American. He's Mr. He came out of the Navy to fucking, Mr. Roger Staubach. He says, quote, every player has taken pain pills. Obviously, players take them when they have pain. Toward the end, I had a feeling that something wasn't right with him, but I didn't recognize the severity of Golden's problems until much later. I had lunch with Golden about 10 years later, and I understood soon after we sat down. So he was that fucked up where it was pretty obvious here. And Tex Schramm said that he doesn't, quote, have a recollection of Richards having a problem.
I had no idea.
No clue. My hair was I was combing my silver hair, and I didn't notice. He said, but I'm not saying it's not true. Yeah. He just said, I didn't notice. It's just not my fault or my responsibility or anything like that.
Right. It wasn't my turn to watch him.
As a businessman or a human being, So after the Super Bowl, I mean, not that it's his responsibility, but it's also sort of his responsibility.
Yeah, that's your guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the owner, so you technically own him.
He's the GM.
You're generally managing, right?
Yeah. He's the guy running the fucking thing.
You should be well informed.
I would say so, and that's a matter of just I'd like to have him on the field, and if he's going to die right after we cut him, that's his problem. But can we get a touchdown pass out of him? That's what it is. So after the Super Bowl, he retreats to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And after the Super Bowl celebration, he found a doctor who started helping him helping wean him from drugs.
Okay.
He said, but there was a scheduled April Fool's Day, so April 1st, speaking engagement in West Texas. So he and Barbara went there. And his wife, Barbara, said, quote, it was Abilene or Amarillo. I don't remember. I do remember I didn't want him to go. I was worried. So part of his speech in West Texas addresses the evils of drug abuse, which is fucking amazing. And he also got his hands on some prescriptions down there because he has all his hookups in Texas.
While he's giving a speech about the evils of drug abuse.
Yeah.
He's abusing drugs.
But he's been weaning himself off, and now he's just going to take what he usually takes. So what happens when that happens?
Oh,
you get
dear
sick.
Christ, yeah.
So his wife, Barbara, said it was a little more than he could handle. So he was in North Dallas at his house on April 2nd, and he collapsed. Barbara called an ambulance and then called one of the Cowboy team doctors and asked him to meet them at the hospital. Mm-hmm. The doctor says, quote, it wasn't an overdose. It wasn't that bad, but he had a problem. I don't know if he was an addict, but he was abusing the stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, I would say so. So he said that Evans said he never would have prescribed a narcotic such as Percodan for any Cowboy, and that when Richards, was released from the hospital, that this guy Evans recommended treatment for Richards' drug abuse. Yeah. So Richard said he went to one session at a drug rehab and never came back. So that'll do it. There we go. All cleaned up now. All cleaned up. Evans also said he always said he didn't have a problem. He said he just needed something for the pain. Well, yeah.
Right.
That's what a lot of people say.
Part of the addiction hurts too, though. So
yeah, it's all of it. So Hollywood Henderson has some thoughts on it.
Oh, boy.
He said, quote, let me tell you something. I love when he starts out with, me tell you something.
Tell me something.
It's good. It's definitely going to be a hard opinion, at that point. Not I've been thinking about something or I have an opinion. Let me tell you something means I know the facts and I'm going to lay them upon you now and you're going to accept them at face value or go fuck yourself. That's what that means.
This is not a consideration. This is, I've investigated.
Yeah, this isn't a quorum. I'm going to tell you what's going on. Let me tell you something. When you play the game of football, it looks graceful. These guys look like gazelles running around out there. But when you're running 24 miles an hour and some guy hits you and you strain and fall and hit the ground, it hurts. Sometimes it hurts forever. First you start on aspirin, then Tylenol 3, then codeine, then Percodan. Then you know some doctor, and he gives you 100.
Yep.
He just described it, though. That's the thing. He just told us something. Thanks,
sure
Thanks, Hollywood.
That's what I did.
That's it. Mike Ditka has a different thought on it.
Oh, great.
Of course.
I love when this fucking guy has a hard opinion
idiot
on something.
And I love the Bears, and I love the Chicago
I love what
thing,
he did.
and I love the
Mystique's
85
beautiful.
Bears.
Yeah.
He's a fucking moron, though.
He's a
An
fucking
absolute
asshole.
moron. He says, quote, he thought later on, he talks, because they cross paths here in Chicago later on, and he says that Ditka thought that, yeah, he might have gotten pills from a team doctor at first, but it's all Golden's fault anyway. Okay. He said, quote, I don't think it's so much a sickness as a weakness. I never think you can blame the doctor. I think the option is always there for the player. We've all done it, but you don't become hooked on it, because when you do get hooked on it, it's a one-way road to nowhere. Thanks, Mike. You just said a lot of things that make sense and everybody nods to, but are physically impossible to enact. Good job. Just don't. Oh, all right, fine. Then I'll just stop.
Right. Okay.
Jesus
but what
Christ.
if I do and then I have trouble? Well, it's a one-way road. We'll never see you again.
You know, like Skid Row in L.A. that has all the. We should take I don't know why I never thought just take Ditka there, give him a bullhorn, and tell him that, and then they can all pass. They'll go, hey, everybody. He says that you just
Coach
can't get.
Said don't, you guys.
He said you don't get hooked on it. He said so, guys. Don't become hooked on it. Cool, everybody. All right, break. Let's do this.
Coach said don't do it all the time. Otherwise, we'll end up. Well, we're already here, Coach.
And the problem is genetically, different people are more susceptible to certain things that will. You know what I mean? So
the other thing is that I'm not a doctor, so I'll take the amounts that I think I can handle. But if a doctor tells me, oh, don't do that because bodies can't handle that, then you don't do it. So, you do kind of blame the doctor.
If you have a doctor that's handing you more than you should have and medically saying that's okay, I mean, that's how many of our people are going to have to fucking watch die over this shit and not go.
How the fuck am I supposed to know how much is okay, Mike?
Thanks, Mike Ditka. I think he said
more cigars, Coach.
I'm pretty sure Ditka said that at Prince's funeral, delivering the eulogy. Right? Didn't he say that? Because I can't get hooked on it because then it's a one-way road to nowhere. It's a one-way road to nowhere, you know. So you get hooked on it there.
Jerk.
It's
just insensitive because we're
he's just a twat.
We're still.
Well, he's chewing gum. You just don't get hooked on it. That's all.
Did he play very long?
Yeah, Ditka was a badass player. He was a good player. He's a tight end.
How long? Because
years. No, he played.
So he knows.
Oh, he's been hit over the middle plenty of times. And he's just like, I don't care. He has so much brain damage that he doesn't realize that his knee hurts, I think. That's his fucking, when you hear him talk, you go, oh, yeah, he got hit in the head a lot. I forgot about that. Yeah. Right. Before he was a coach, he went over the middle quite often. So he had to be, so anyway, he was in the hospital. He did all of that. And he said that, or Barbara said, quote, it was the old, gee, I have a toothache. There's a doctor who can give me a prescription line, is how he got the drugs in Dallas. He said, and they did, and it was a pretty serious drug. I can't remember what it was, but it was something you wouldn't want to mess around with. And he took a lot. By 9 o'clock, he was pretty out of it. By 10, you could tell he wasn't all there. Then he started seizing and turning blue.
Oh, my God.
That's not good. So that's when Pat Evans said, it's fine. It's not that bad. By the way, Barbara angrily disagrees with Dr. Pat Evans' assessment. He said it wasn't that bad. She says, quote, that's crap. I was there. It was a big deal. Later it was dismissed, classified as routine flu symptoms. Who knows how they covered that up? Well, they're the Cowboys. If he's seizing and turning blue, that is a big deal.
That's a gnarly flu, James.
That's nasty flu. Jesus, if that goes around, we're really fucked.
In a lot of trouble.
So, Jesus Christ, the Smurf seizure flu, they call it. You don't want to get the Smurf seizure flu. You'll really be fucked then. So Golden said, people would do anything for me in Dallas. I love Dallas and the people in Texas, and I believed they liked me. So they give me pills. So they end up trading him to the Bears before the season.
Right?
That's so funny. I think he plays one game for them, and then they trade him to the Bears. After that, they're like, we can't have this. When he falls apart, let's have him do it on someone else's time here. So he's traded to the Bears for 2 undisclosed draft picks.
Oh,
just
we won't discuss.
Gave him away, basically. Yeah. So the Bears coach said, quote, we're happy to have a player of the caliber of Golden Richards with the Bears. He's been a big playmaker for the Cowboys. So ready to go. He's traded there. He talks about here, this is from Joel Reese's article, quote, he talked about how he got hooked on drugs. Said the Cowboys started him on painkillers to keep playing. I went to my doctor in Salt Lake City because I felt so damn terrible, he said. I thought I had the world's worst flu. The doctor asked me if I was on any medication. I told him not anymore. He asked me what I'd been taking, and I told him I didn't know. He said, what did it look like? I told him it was yellow and said 135 and endo. He sat back and said, you're going through withdrawal.
Yeah, it's called a heroin withdrawal, son.
Yeah, when he got to Utah, he's like, why do I feel so shitty?
Yeah.
Wow, this is like, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm burning up. Like, what's going on?
I puke, I turn green.
Well,
it's weird.
You are withdrawing, stupid. So Finks here was his name. I think it's Jim Finks is the guy. He was a Bears guy, and then later on with the Saints. He said that the Bears trainer and team doctor had told him that the Illinois Drug Enforcement agencies monitoring prescription drug sales were looking into Richard's propensity for buying large quantities of Percodan.
He's got the state DEA on his tail.
That's how much Percodan he's buying for one person. So they said that and this guy Fink said that he knew that the Cowboys knew this before him. He said, if I was being told as soon as he got here, you can't fucking tell me the Cowboys didn't know about this shit beforehand. So they just dumped him off and tried to sweep it under the rug. Fink said, though, Golden was a good player for us. I don't remember specifics, but he had problems. His problems never seemed to affect him on the field. Yeah. Now, meanwhile, while they're saying he seems fine, he's looking good, he's good now, he says that he would be standing outside supermarkets near the Bears practice facility waiting for the doors to open in the morning. Wow. He said, quote, it was me and the winos. They couldn't wait for their wine. I couldn't wait for my prescriptions.
Fascinating.
He'd bust in there. Yep. So the 78 Bears here, they go 7-9, very mediocre team. Bob Avellini is the quarterback. So he's Italian. How many good Italian quarterbacks have there been? Dan Marino, and that's it. It's very disappointing for me, but that's how it is. Walter Payton, obviously, on this team. So, some guys like that. Golden this year in 78, he plays for 15 games with the Bears here, and 27 receptions, 379 yards. So not bad. Not bad at all. 1979, the Bears, he plays in 5 games, has 5 receptions, and then he's put on the injured reserve list after his right knee is hurt again. Same knee he hurt in college. He also figured out he had hurt his arm in training camp and figured out that he played the 5 games that season with a broken arm.
Jesus.
So that's why you're on pills, too. Or you're on so many pills you don't realize you're playing with a broken fucking arm. That's wild.
Yeah.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
So April 22nd, 1980, the headline is Bears Golden Richards on team's unwanted list.
Oh.
Unwanted.
I've heard of injured list. I've never heard of the unwanted.
Unwanted. We call it the orphan list. We're kicking them into the streets. So Golden said he was very surprised they don't want him back. He's like, I thought everything was going great. The general manager said, we have 3 receivers equal to or better than he is and that we like. So we're taking them who aren't on shitloads of opiates. Yeah. So Golden said, you bet I'm disappointed. I felt I had more to give. When I was playing, they weren't throwing me the ball. Then after I got hurt, they started playing well and throwing the ball. I don't call the plays. So he said that he had started contract negotiations, and then all of a sudden they were like, no, we don't want you anymore. So, he said he's very upset about the whole thing. And they said that the team just said, we have other receivers. So May 9th, 1980, he signs with the Broncos.
Oh, hey.
Denver Broncos looking to strengthen the old passing attack. They sign him up. And a couple months later, the headline is Golden Richards fails to report to Broncos.
Oh, he didn't even show up.
He fucked up. He will later say he hurt his leg in the off season and didn't show up because he hurt his leg. And they said, though, he had, quote, personal problems is what team officials said. So
yeah,
I think
if you hurt your leg for a paycheck, you'll show up.
You'll
right?
show up
like,
and limp around. Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, at least they have to pay you if you're standing there. So he still gets by, though, on everything, even though football isn't going well. His wife said, Barbara said, quote, Golden was a charismatic person who was articulate and outgoing and kind, and people always responded to him. His method of operation was always the same. Gee, I have a toothache, he would say, and doctors wrote him prescriptions. In Dallas and Utah, it didn't matter. So that's him. I mean, that's all there is to it. So that's his whole NFL career. He's done now.
Wow.
Nobody wants him
He
anymore.
just quit showing up.
Well, he's a speed receiver who's pushing 30 years old, and had knee injuries, and a
bad wing, bad leg,
and a wicked pill problem. So there's other guys with less issues that you can take.
Right.
So his whole career, he had 122 receptions for 2,136 yards and 17 touchdowns. So kind of less than he could have, we'll say.
Yeah.
He did average 17.5 yards a reception, which is big. That's big. That's a big play.
2,000 yards his career?
His career, yeah.
Yeah, and a Super Bowl ring.
And he's got a ring, definitely. Well, we'll talk about his ring, actually. We'll see if he still has his ring. So, 1980.
Somebody has a ring.
Someone's got a ring. Well, it's disputed who, though, as we'll find out. 1981, he gets a TV show because he has a personality. And he's, all that shit. So he gets a TV show on ESPN, which in 1981, it was brand new. They were looking for anything.
That's awesome.
If you had 2 guys fight each other with sticks, they'd put it on there if you had a camera.
And it's got a name. You could call it the Golden Hour. Fucking you could do anything.
They call it ESPN Outdoors. And it's...
Or that.
Or that.
What the fuck?
Yep. They don't fucking...
They didn't even capitalize on the guy.
Not at all. The show's producer, Lee Martin, said Golden was an ideal host and that the producer never knew of any drug problem. He said, we never had any situations where he was late for a shoot or didn't show up. He was a great asset because he got involved with everything. He was such a charmer. People really took to him. That's how he is.
Yeah, I believe it.
He's a charmer. He did some TV work in Chicago as well because he was on the Bears. And then he ends up returning to Salt Lake City to take a public relations job with an energy company. So that's what he does. It's,
a charismatic spokesman, probably.
Yeah. Now he's got to get up in the morning, though. He's got to put a suit on.
Company? That's crazy.
Yep, for that. So his wife said that she quickly realized that the end of his football career didn't mean the end of taking pills. She thought, oh, well, if he's not getting hurt, maybe he'll stop taking pills. She said
he's hurt forever.
She said, I truly thought that trying to play with pain was Golden's problem. I thought that when he stopped playing, he would change, but it didn't. So 1984 in March, he and Barbara are divorced after 10 years.
That was quick.
Yep. She said, I finally gave up. And in July of 84, Golden checks himself into a rehab in Salt Lake City, the St. Benedict's ACT Center, for the first of 3 stays there that he's going to have pretty soon here. He'll get married again pretty quick right after this, and then that'll last less than a year. And then he'll end up getting married again later on.
Maybe you're the problem, Golden.
Well, let's find out what he's up to 10 years after retirement. By 1992, this is a dark story. By 1992, he gets up in the morning and immediately takes a bunch of pills.
Yeah.
His stomach is so jangled from everything else and all the pills he's been taking that he'll throw the pills up after he took them.
No.
So then he fishes through the toilet to pick the capsules out and take them again.
Oh, my God.
That's
That's an addiction, my friend.
Dope, sick love behavior.
You betcha.
That is
way too far.
Washing your needle out in the Wendy's toilet bowl to shoot up level of fucking, what are you doing, bro?
Eating your pills after you lurched them.
If a toilet is involved with your drug ritual at all in any way, you need to stop what you're doing and take a step back.
If you're using that toilet to facilitate your drug use, there's a problem, my friend.
I don't care if it's picking it out of your own puke or cleaning your needles in it. Either way.
I hope there's a very bright light in there and you can see your reflection in that toilet water.
I hope so. So, yeah, he said he would, when he found whole capsules, he'd rinse them off and pop them in his mouth and pray he wouldn't throw them back up again.
Oh, I'm going to throw them up.
That's what I mean.
Christ. How do you do that?
Is that a pill or a chunk of pot roast? Fuck it, I'll just put them both in there. That's disgusting.
You playing carrot or pill? This is gross. This is not.
And he never eats Good and Plenty's just in case. He doesn't want to have any confusion.
No Mike and Ike's for
No
me.
Mike and Ike's. So this is fucked up. Hot tamales, you're out.
Jesus Christ, man.
That's what I mean.
Oh, fuck.
This is bad stuff. I feel bad for this guy.
He's got to know,
this is terrible.
as he's doing that, this is going to kill me. I'm going to die. I'm not long for this world.
And this has been 15 years now he's been doing this. This is 1992. I mean, this has been going on a long time. This guy's living in hell. He's living in hell. There's no other way to put it.
So sweaty.
I know, me too. It was gross. When I found that, I was like, ugh.
God damn it.
Ugh. And that was in a newspaper article with his picture right next to it.
Jesus, what?
His picture's right there. Just like, here's the guy who, see his face? Imagine him wiping the chunks off of a fucking pill to pop it again. Think about that. Very sad. So, have we reached rock bottom yet?
It's got to be.
Well, not quite, Jimmy.
Oh, my God.
December 14th, 1992, he is arrested.
Did he sift through shit because it went through too fast?
He was sifting through other people's puke for pills. That's the problem. You can sift through your own, but not other people's. Once you do that, then the law gets involved. Or at least the church. Somebody gets involved. I don't fucking know who. Who does? I don't know.
You can pick through your poop. You can pick through your friend's poop, but you can't pick.
But you can't. You can't pick your friend's poop.
Yeah.
That's how that would
go. You
go.
pick through your vomit. You can pick through your poop.
Friend's vomit.
You can't pick through your friends.
Yeah. Pick your vomit. You can pick your friends, but you can't pick through your friend's vomit.
Oh, my God, dude. I want to fucking vomit so bad.
Look, can I pick through it or no? We just said I can't pick through it. You can't pick through your friend's vomit. Damn it.
It's the rule.
You can eat what you want to get the vomit you want, obviously, and you can, but you can't. Yeah, you're right. So,
it's so sick.
He's arrested in Salt Lake City, in a suburb there, and accused of, this is very sad, forging his father's signature on 16 checks. He's forging from his parents, man.
16 transactions from his father.
And he's 42 years old, so his dad's got to be an older guy, 70s, something like, oh my God. Totaling not even that much. This is the sad part. $664.88. 16 checks totaling that. That's not
$60 a check.
None of the checks were for over $100. They were all little things so they wouldn't draw attention.
Yeah.
The money went to, it was all for painkillers. Those were all checks to pharmacies. So he's buying pills. So when he gets arrested, as soon as he gets arrested, it goes public very quickly. He gets fired. He's working construction at that point.
Yeah,
and he gets fired from his construction job as well. Yeah. So they don't want him operating machinery and shit, or hammering a coworker to a 2x4 by accident. So the owner of the condo that he lived, also because he was staying in somebody that he knew, he was staying in their condo, called soon after to tell him he had to leave because he doesn't want drug addicts associated with his apartment. He said that the guy told him that I sold the apartment, so you can't stay here anymore. But he thinks it was that. He said that some of his Super Bowl memorabilia, including the jersey he wore in the Super Bowl against the Broncos, he sold it to pay debts.
Jesus fuck.
His brother Royal said, quote, "It's a sad situation. You wonder what the end is going to be. You hope things will turn around. You hope he says one day I won't use drugs again."
Yeah.
You would hope. So December 31st, 1992 is his 42nd birthday. And he spends it being arraigned in a Salt Lake City circuit court on 7 counts of forgery. Happy birthday to you. The golden that's your golden birthday, 42nd, right? That's your golden?
As long as you're 40. Isn't it 40?
I think it's 42 is your golden, and you spend it in court adjudicating.
31. It's whatever your birthday is your golden birthday, isn't it?
I don't fucking know. I didn't know that was a thing. I was kidding. His name's Golden. It is a thing.
Yeah, you're
Stop.
31st.
Adults.
This would be his 31st.
No. Adults, stop with your fucking birthdays. Sorry. Stop. But it's my birthday. I don't care. You're an adult. I don't fucking care about your birthday. Don't care.
There's only 365 days. There's 7 billion people.
You're
not unique. You're not the only guy born today.
Guess what birthdays don't count? Your first birthday? Guess what? You don't remember that. Doesn't fucking matter. That's for your goddamn parents to show off that they've kept you alive for a year. Wonderful.
They've kept you drawing wind.
That's it.
365 days. That's it.
Besides that, the first birthday that matters is your 16th birthday. That's fine. Maybe 10 double digits, but 16, you can drive, you can do shit like that. 18's big, you're an adult. 21's big. After that, shut the fuck up and celebrate the decades. Done. And this is not a new thought, new concept. No. Plenty of people have said this, but shut the fuck up. Shut up with this birthday month. It's my birthday week. You get one fucking day. Go to work, come home, have a decent dinner, and shut the fuck up. Bang your wife and go to bed. What do you want from me?
How are you supposed to make your 31st birthday matter at all, James? It's got to be the one.
It doesn't matter. That's the point. Not every day matters. You're a fucking adult. Jesus Christ. Stop it.
Everybody's got to have another special day.
Oh, stop it with your special. No, you're not special.
Nobody's special.
I'd like to make an announcement. Hello? Mike Ditka here. Number 1, it's a weakness. Just don't get hooked. Number 2, you're not special. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Understand?
The only thing special is this gum.
The only thing special is this dentine.
Why do I like dentine?
I don't know why I picked dentine.
That's right. I guarantee that's what he chews.
It seems like what he would chew, right?
Absolutely what he chews.
I got this dentine. So, not doing well. Richards said, quote, not quite what the golden boy had in mind for a birthday party. That's what he said. Jesus
But the
Christ.
good news is, new year, new me. Here you go, bud. Tomorrow you can start all over.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
With all these fines you've got to pay.
He's already confessed to all this. He faces, by the way, they're trying to get their charges reduced from third-degree felonies to misdemeanors. If they're unsuccessful, which is highly unlikely because he's not like a career criminal, he faces right now up to 35 years in prison for $600 worth of bad checks from his dad.
Yeah, because it's he keeps doing it.
He keeps doing it, so it keeps adding up.
16 times. How do you not go, oh my God, I can't do this anymore.
It's bad. So January 1993, the next month, he pleads guilty. They agree to lower the charges, and he receives, you, sir, may fuck off, 7 days in jail and ordered to do community service and pay a fine. This isn't really that much of a criminal thing. To me, this is more
35 years down to 7 days.
7 days. To me,
a pretty good reduction.
It's not bad. But this is more of like a personal thing between him and his dad. He stole from his dad. It's not a stranger. So if his dad wants to forgive him and try to help him and say he's got a drug problem, I don't have a big problem with it. I don't really need the state to make it their problem. You know what I mean? I get it's forgery, but
on a scale of sadness, this is
it's
certainly
fucking sad.
Some of the saddest.
Yeah.
This is horrible.
If you steal
it's
from a stranger, it's different. But if it's your parents and they're okay and they say, I want to help him, this showed me he has a problem and all that, then I don't know, whatever. I don't fucking know. But 7 days is fine. He does probably need to cool off for 7 days.
Yeah.
Probably be good for him.
That's going to be 7 hell days for the other prisoners.
Oh, my God. And he has to do community service, too. Yeah. They said he's penniless, he's jobless. And he said at this point, once he's out of jail and everything, for 5 weeks he's been homeless, going from friend's house to friend's house, night after night, sleeping on couches.
The man was on a float a few years ago.
He was celebrated.
As a hero.
Now he is, now he's still on a float, but the float's a couch. It's a different kind of float. It's an IKEA float. And
he was on a float with people smiling as he drove over those 2 X's where JFK was shot.
He's waving. Hi. Now he is sleeping on couches, and he said it's a new reality. They're talking about this article in the paper. He's sitting with his public defender, and he acknowledges that he's a drug addict, and he's dependent on prescription drugs and all that kind of thing. He's, by the way, he's chain smoking cigarettes now. All the other stuff's gone out the window.
Typical. He's doing the real stereotypical drug addict guy,
especially one that's trying to quit. He says, "I've been in hell, and it's not pretty, but I made my own hell." And this is after 3 times of drug rehab, going right back to it and all that kind of thing. About rehab, he said, it helped for a while, but I wasn't ready to quit. I wasn't ready until now. He said that the arrest changed everything. That was embarrassing. He said, you cannot fall any lower than standing there handcuffed with the only way out being to die. Yeah, that's pretty low. He said that he began drinking after retiring from football and also enrolled in a hospital outpatient program and joined a local chapter of Alcoholics Anonymous as well because he was drinking and doing the pills, which is a great way to stop your heart. That's very nice. Oh, also preparing to begin speaking to youth groups on the evils of addiction now. He's good now. Let's get you a couple months removed from picking your puke chunks off your pills in the toilet before you start talking to the kids. What do you say?
Yeah. We can still smell the puke on your breath.
But that's the story you tell people. Don't tell them, I was home. Kids don't think about money or this future things go. Say, I was so bad that I picked fucking my own throw up off of pills and re-ate them. They all go, oh, God. That'll stick in their fucking head. They'll never forget that. That's reality.
A guy that sucks dick for coke will go, Jesus, man.
Jesus, bro. Good God. Semen's less gross than puke. So he said that they said that this reporter's walking with him and they walk around after eating a dinner downtown in Salt Lake City, and he's pointing out hotels and stuff. And Richards is, and he's saying that he had dinner with Willie Nelson over here. He said, I hung out with Chris Christopherson over here. All this stuff, and Richard says, quote, this has been a horrible, horrible way of life. I will not lie. Like any addict, I've been deceitful, manipulative, and cunning. People who suffer from my kind of addiction can lose everything that means everything to you. I know I have. So he's fucked. Now, here's more from Joel Reese. This is Joel Reese. This is about the time Joel Reese encounters him in the 90s here. So this guy talks about how he was a kid and his newspaper articles and all about Golden Richards on his wall in his room. He bought, even after the Cowboys traded him, he bought a Bears jersey that had 83 on it because it was Golden Richards. And he was fucking
all about it.
Mr. Golden Richards there. He said he always still carried a Golden Richards football card in his wallet.
Really?
Obsessed with this guy. So he said he fantasized about meeting him. And he said now he was writing an article. And, he had been arrested, obviously, for the drugs and everything like that. So he said during his first year of graduate school for journalism at the University of Montana, in the sports section of the Missoulian was a one-page paragraph story that had said Golden had no money, no job, and no place to live, and had lost everything because of addiction to pills.
Yeah,
so
like, my hero can stay with me?
Holy shit. Yeah, he can sleep on my couch. So he said he found him and persuaded Golden to talk to him. And he says, quote, "Here I was with Golden on a sunny winter afternoon in 1994 in his hometown of Salt Lake City. We were in his car. The plan was to drive around." That's like the next day, though. We'll talk about that. When they met, he says that his life's been a series of turns for the worse, rehab efforts followed by relapses, near overdoses, and drinking binges. He said, apart from the forgery arrest, I had a vague idea at the time of our meeting of the extent of Golden's troubles. He said, it was our get acquainted night, his chance to check this guy out who'd driven 9 hours from Montana to probe into his life. I traveled down Interstate 15 through Dillon and the whole deal. When he gets there, he said he had to stop at a place that was 40 below zero, and it was a harrowing drive there. And he meets Golden, and he says, wow. He says, quote, "Here was the man I had idolized like a father since the age of 10. He looked a little haggard. His eyes were not as sharp as I thought they would be, and he moved slowly. He was still trim and immediately friendly, but his skin had the leathery look of someone who smokes too much and sleeps too little. Perhaps an effect of having been addicted to painkillers on and off for more than 20 years. He said Golden was pretty calm, but he drank several Pepsis while we talked. Several. Okay. He accidentally kicked his cup and spilled brown cola on the rugs. Shiite Muslims, he said, as he dodged into the... That's his way of saying shit, apparently.
Yep.
I hate that. As he dodged into the kitchen... God damn it. So he said he was articulate and thoughtful and was open about his past drug use. He said he occasionally clucked his tongue and shook his head. The crazy days of the NFL, he said with a slight smile, like, oh, wow, what are you going to do? He sat back and looked at me as I talked, listening and thinking before answering. He asked about my life, how I ended up here, and why I chose him as my favorite player. He looked smaller than his 6-foot height and wore new-looking Wrangler blue jeans and button-down white cotton shirt. He invited me into his tidy apartment, and he said, talking about sitting across from each other and all that kind of thing. He says, on the shelf next to a small plaster Jesus were pictures of him and his new 25-year-old wife sitting by a tree.
What?
So he's 44. He's an NFL player, I guess. But he's a...
He needs so much. He's so high maintenance.
This won't last, by the way. They'll get divorced.
This is 25, poor lady.
Yeah, she's just in for a bad time here. Yeah. You were on the Cowboys? Oh, boy, here we go. We went out to his porch and he smoked a cigarette, something he said maybe I shouldn't mention because he didn't want to be a bad influence on kids. He told me that he was going to be starting a job that week analyzing data for a California-based health products company. He was back on track, and I was happy for him. Okay. So the ride, though, they go for a ride the next day. And he said that, he was a little disappointed in Golden not being as sharp as he thought he was going to be. But he says, quote, "I forgot about my disappointment in him because I was riding with him in his wife's car, his third wife. He was driving and I was asking questions. God damn, my radiator light is on," he said. "We need to get some water." He pulled into a gas station and parked by the water hose in front of the payphone. We went inside and he bought a Monster Pepsi. We went out to the car and he opened the hood and turned toward me. "Say, listen, my teeth are killing me," he said, looking away. We know how that starts. My dentist said it's from being knocked around so much on Sundays. I've had 3 root canals. I can't go in to see him till tomorrow. I took some Tylenol this morning, but it's not working. Do you have any painkillers? Tylenol 3 or anything like that?
Yeah, anything better than, regular ass Tylenol?
Wow. So this guy says, warning lights went off in my head. Last night at his apartment, Golden had told me about his addiction to painkillers, but he said he was clean and everything was okay. He was good now. Now he's asking me for pills. I don't have anything like that, I said. Do you think your friend does? He said. Dude, referring...
Can you ask your mom?
Yeah, referring to Sean, the guy whom I was staying with but didn't know very well. I don't know. I don't know if he's around, I said. Can you give him a call and see if he's home, he said, pulling a quarter out of his pocket.
I'll give you a quarter if you call him.
Wow, this is 94 when he could still put a quarter in a box and call somebody. So the moment hung there, he says. Golden held out the quarter. I knew I should say, no, forget it. This makes me really uncomfortable. But I wanted to cooperate with him so he would cooperate with me. I wanted him to like me. This is a college kid, too, who's idolizing this guy. I took the coin and dialed. I wanted Golden to step away so I could fake the call, but he stayed leaning over my shoulder. I could smell the leather of his bomber jacket.
I want to hear what he says.
Oh, my God. His face was yellowish, and the hands that had cradled so many touchdowns clasped the metal edges of the phone booth. Hello, Sean. Listen, I'm with Golden, and his teeth are really hurting. Do you have any prescription stuff, Tylenol 3? I don't know. Let me look, Sean said. He put the phone down. What's he doing? Is he checking? Golden asked. Dude, let me talk to him. And then he took the phone from my hand.
I could sell this better, kid. Give me it.
Wow. What's this guy's name, he asked. I told him.
Oh,
so
my
he doesn't even
God.
know his name. What's his name? All right, hey. Hey, Sean, Golden Richards here. How you doing? He gets on the phone. Listen, my teeth are really bad, and I need something for them. I don't know how you say these names. I'm not a pill guy. Yeah. Mepergen? Mepergen, what's that? Okay, well, listen, buddy, I'll be glad to reimburse you for them. You sure? Okay, buddy, well, listen, what do you do? Photography? Hell, buddy, I can set you up, get you all sorts of jobs, taking pictures of sports teams and stuff like that. I'd be glad to help you out. Now he's just...
Now he's giving them work?
Manipulating them, that's all. He's just,
Faking opportunities.
Yep. Oh, I'll help you out. Totally. Yeah, give me these pills. This is a long relationship we're going to have, not just me taking pills from you.
Yeah.
We drove to Sean's apartment. He wasn't home, so this is back to Joel saying this. Mm-hmm. So I used the key he had given me. Golden went to the dining room table where Sean had left the pills. He looked at the label. You think he has anything else, he asked, his eyes flitting around the apartment. He still wouldn't look at me.
Let's toss the place. Let's see
Whoa.
what else we can find.
I don't know, I said.
Yeah.
He said there might be more in the bathroom. Where's the bathroom, he asked.
Oh, my God.
The guy never said that. This
so
is
now
just
he's
Golden.
robbing a man's house.
That's all. Now he's Ryan Leafing him. So he said, Golden went down the hall. I heard him rummaging through the medicine cabinet.
Oh, my God.
Golden came out of Sean's bathroom holding the bottle of pills. They don't have anything else, he said. He went to the phone and called a pharmacy, a number he apparently had memorized, to find out about Mepergen, a brand of Neperidine, also marketed under the familiar name Demerol.
Oh,
jackpot, which is a narcotic painkiller combined with an antihistamine. He asked a couple of questions, then hung up, and we left Sean's apartment to tour Salt Lake City. He drove. I tried to put the incident behind me.
I'm trying to forget that
he just robbed my friend.
He just burglarized my friend's house.
It's cool. It's cool. It's Golden Richards, man. It's totally cool.
And now he's high on Demerol behind the wheel, showing me things.
Yep. This gets really bad. We drove around the city, and he showed me the large pink house where his parents live, the fields where he and his brothers played football, where he had learned the moves that made him a star in high school. I asked him about his second wife and what had happened with her.
Let's not talk about that.
Well,
you're going to ruin this.
He began a rambling tale about how she had attacked him one night and then called the police. It was the craziest damn thing, he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. His voice slowly got softer and raspy, and I could barely hear him. He wasn't making much sense. He talked for several minutes, then asked me, quote, what was the question again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kid,
Drugs
you
are
got
working.
him so high.
He kept licking his lips. We were talking about your second wife, I said. Oh, right, yeah, he says. That was a messy situation. Boy, I tell you. Then he was mumbling again. He appeared to be lost and kept turning into dead-end streets and stalling the car.
He can't try a stick now.
He's lost the ability to clutch. He pulled into a strip mall to go into a video store, and I followed him. This is when you're renting videos still back then. Say, how much money do you have, he asked. I'm just wondering because, he said, trailing off. Now he's
I just spent my last quarter.
Yeah. Now he's just starting sentences and then just trailing off like someone who's on a lot of pills. In the store, he seemed to grab boxes at random and stare at them, his mind not processing the cover of Weekend at Bernie's. Not a lot to process there, really. Oh, boy, they're dragging a corpse around.
Dead or?
So they just desecrate a corpse for a fucking week? Great. Okay. Something was definitely off, but I haven't seen him take any of the pills, and I've been with him the whole time. Mm-hmm. Golden grabbed For the Boys with Bette Midler and a Nintendo hockey game and walked unsteadily to the counter.
Yeah. He's going to rent a hockey game.
Do you want the instructions for that? The teenage cashier asked him. What? The instructions for the game, the kid said. What? Golden replies. This is a Nintendo game, a cartridge. Oh, Golden said, holding the cartridge up in front of his face. No, I don't want this.
He doesn't even have a Nintendo.
He's like, I don't even know what I grabbed. He thought he was just picking up a hockey movie, apparently. He doesn't know what he's grabbing. He tossed 2 crumpled bills onto the counter, and we walked out. I carried the movie. So he did get For the Boys, though. He's very into that. Yeah. I went to the... Yeah, he loves... You got to hear... You know what? I know she's not. I know it's not Beaches, but maybe, just maybe, I'll get wind with beneath my wings. You know what I mean? Just maybe. You never know.
We don't know yet.
I've never seen it. I'll be surprised. He said, I went to the car. I went to the car and turned, and he was still standing on the curb. He left him behind standing there. He looked pale in his jeans and bomber jacket, mouth open, knees slightly bent, legs bowed like an old cowboy's. He is an old cowboy. He tried to put his sunglasses in his shirt pocket, swiping repeatedly and missing the pocket each time.
Oh, my God.
He wobbled to get to the car and got behind the wheel. His skin was chalky. Why don't you let me drive, I said.
Yeah.
Best idea of the day. No, I'll be fine, he said. He couldn't get the key into the ignition, again and again, stabbing the steering column. Missing.
Oh, my God. No, I'll be fine.
Oh, God. He did get the car started, but stalled it there in the parking lot, then finally got out into the road. Jesus Christ. He was weaving, crossing the center line. Suddenly, he pulled into the parking lot of an office complex. He parked, and we sat there silent.
Yeah.
Finally, I mustered the courage to ask, are you feeling okay? Good question.
This is the weirdest day of my life.
This is fucked up. He was leaning back in his seat, eyes closed, mouth agape. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, he said. The rest of my head, I asked. Or the rest of my head. That's what he said. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, the rest of my head. That was his response to, are you okay?
So fucked up.
I asked Golden, how many of those pills... He started to ask him, and Golden interrupted by saying, say, do you want a cold drink? Motioning toward a restaurant at the end of the lot.
Thirsty.
Fine. He said, that was a coherent sentence. I thought maybe he's okay. That's good. No thanks, is what the response was, though. The car started rolling toward the restaurant. I looked over at him. Golden's eyes were shut, his head lolling backwards. He was blacking out.
Oh, my God, and the car's driving.
Yeah. Golden, better hit the brakes. You're about to hit that wall. Oh, shit, he said, slamming on the brake pedal. Say, how many of those pills, how many did you take? A bunch of them? I asked. I don't know, he said. Wow. I felt crazy, like jumping through that window. His head tilted back again. That's what he said. Okay.
Oh, my God.
Why don't I drive? I said. It looks like you're getting sleepy there. That's a good way to put it. He said, quote, blinding in my eye, can't function. Okay. Wow. I got out and walked around to the driver's door and helped him out. He was no longer a man. He was a drowsy, disoriented child. He held on to the car as he walked around the back. He stopped and bent over the license plate. Is this the kind you punch, he asked. What the fuck does that mean? What?
It means he needs a doctor, right?
Is this the kind you punch? And he said, no, I said. The engine sputtered as I drove. How many of those pills did you take? I asked. The ones we got at the apartment. His answer?
All of them.
Oh, boy. Quote, when you're an addict, you have to take all of them.
Oh, my God, he ate all of them.
He took the whole bottle.
Oh, Jesus.
Heard this from so many addicts. You take them all. You just always take out all. That's how much you take, all of it.
Oh, God.
That's as much as you can get. Wow. Then he suddenly he said it was like semi-lucid. When you're an addict, you have to take all of them.
Yeah.
So he said, quote, do you think of yourself as an addict? Then Golden said, no, not really, and put his head back and shut his eyes.
Yesterday I was.
Wow. I was about 20 minutes ago, though. Now I could take it or leave it.
Now I'm having a good time.
Oh, my God. He said, I drove in silence, looking over at him occasionally to see how he was doing. They could come in 0-25 and beat the Cowboys, he mumbled. Who's that? I asked. The Rangers, he said.
What? He thinks the baseball team's going to play the...
For baseball games play more than 25 games, football teams play less than 25 games, and baseball teams don't play football teams. So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I can't even find...
Come in 0-25.
Still beat the Cowboys. In what sport are they 0? They could lose 25 straight games of hockey and still beat the Cowboys in basketball. What are you talking about?
So you got any more pills?
Do you have more of those?
Can you call your mom?
Does your sister's she have a rotted out vagina she takes pain pills for? Because that's what I heard they take them for, the girls. It's rotten.
I need pills.
Oh, boy. He said, I got to his apartment complex, helped him up the stairs to his apartment, and sat down on his couch. I checked his jacket and found the pill bottle in the front left pocket. It was empty. He did take them all. God. Golden was crawling on all fours in front of the couch.
Don't put a cheeseburger in front of him.
Wow. Holy shit. I ran into the bedroom, called an emergency hotline, and told the attendant what had happened. Where is he now? The attendant asked. He's on the living room floor. Go see if he's still breathing, she said. Jesus Christ. Yeah. My God, okay. I ran back to the living room, and Golden was passed out in the classic drunk position, face down on the carpet, arms at his side, knees bent. I leaned over and heard breath rasping out of his mouth. His hair hung around his purplish face, and his eyes were shut. I ran back to the phone. Yes, he's still breathing. Okay, call 911 immediately, they said. What's the other thing? Call the coroner? Wait.
Well, I got two numbers here for you. Is he breathing?
Is he breathing? We're going to go ahead and throw that one away. The paramedics arrived a few minutes later. One went over to Golden and started taking his vitals. I leaned against the wall, unable to watch. His blood pressure was 170/110. His pupils are unreactive and constricted, the paramedic said. They put oxygen tubes up his nose. They sat him up and asked him if he had taken any pills. No, sir, he said, squat on the floor, his legs flat out in front of him. What day is it? Monday, Tuesday? What day is it? One asked him. Tuesday, he said. His eyes rolled back. It was Saturday. Oh, man. So the paramedic said, be straight with us here, Golden. What's going on? And Golden said, in regards to what?
Oh, boy.
We're in your living room. Do we live here? Are we normally in your living room? Why do you think we're here? In regards to why we're here, they said you were unconscious on the floor. Golden's response waves him off and goes, probably a woman said that, and then drifted his head back off. Probably a woman said that. I've been married 3 times. You can't trust them, and their vaginas rot out.
Wild shit.
Their vaginas rot out, and then you can take their pills, though. So I keep marrying them.
Hey, you guys got pills?
Jesus. So you guys look like doctors. He said, paramedic said, you weren't unconscious on the floor? And Golden said, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 5.
That is not a coherent answer.
That is not an answer to the questions that are being asked. And it's not even like an answer to the last question. It's just random shit. One of the paramedics said his eyes keep going back. Bring the stretcher up. He's going to go. going to pass out. So one of the paramedics looked at the picture on the wall of Golden catching a touchdown for the Cowboys and said, "This is Golden Richards?" Yeah, the other responded. The first one said, "This is sad. This is really sad."
Yeah, sure in the fuck is.
Oh, that's terrible.
You should have seen him a few years ago, guys. There was a pile of puke with pills in it.
Fuck, man. So this kid who's writing the article said, Joel Reese, he said he's upset. He said he's crying at this point.
Yeah.
He said Golden lay there on the stretcher as they wheeled him out, eyes wild and uncomprehending, blue tubes up his nose. I followed as they took him to the ambulance, the neighbors looking at us from their porches. A round-faced policeman started grilling me, asking me how he got the pills.
Yeah.
I got them for him, I said.
Oh, shut up.
This is someone who doesn't normally do illegal ththings, is what this is.
And a kid that's never had
Never
a
done this
friend
before.
that did illegal things. Yeah.
No. Then the guy said, "Why? Did he pay you? Who are you?" Then he started realizing what was going on. The kid said, "He's going to arrest me. I thought he thinks I'm Golden's pusher." So he says, "Look, I got them for him because he said his teeth hurt. I didn't know. I wanted to help him. I'm his biggest fan." Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck. He scammed me. I don't.
Right.
I wasn't pushing pills on the guy. So he said, "I drove to the hospital and joined his wife, Amy, at the time. She'll be gone soon. Her son and her dad in the emergency room. We sat there against the wall under the stifling fluorescent lights there. So she said, the wife, quote, 'This is it. He's going to Arizona,' meaning the rehab center there." She said, "I guess it's safe to say I don't know my husband very well," with a nervous laugh. Yeah. So he goes, "I left the hospital," this is Joel again, "and drove back to Sean's apartment." Jesus Christ.
I'm so sorry we burgled your place, Sean.
Yeah, he said, "I remember trying to pinpoint when Golden took the pills and thinking he must have taken them in Sean's bathroom. He must have went right down there and done it. That night, Golden called me. 'Sorry about today,' he said. 'Thanks for your help.' 'That's all right,' he said back. Then Golden said, 'Yeah, the doctors don't know what happened. They said it was either a grand mal seizure or an allergic reaction.'"
Or,
well, he said, "Golden, I found the empty bottle in your coat."
Yeah.
And he said there was a long pause, and then he said, Golden said, "Well, I don't know what the hell's going on, but it wasn't the pills."
Okay.
Yeah. He said that he called him a couple weeks later, and they chatted for a while, and he asked him about what had happened that day in Salt Lake City. And Golden said he thought the pills were a non-narcotic muscle relaxant, and he took the whole bottle because they were old, and he thought their potency might have expired. The pharmacy told you they were fucking Demerol, dude. Right. You knew what it was. He said, "I told him that people might not believe that," and he became annoyed. Quote, "I don't care what some people think. I don't have to explain myself to anybody, but since it's you, I'll tell you." He said that, Jesus Christ, quote, "The other day I went to the dentist, and the dentist was going to give me some pain pills. I asked what was in them, and he said they were fine. I said, okay. Then I said, 'Do these have any codeine?' He said, 'Yes.' I said, 'Whoa, no thank you kindly.' And I didn't. I got a non-narcotic pain pill. That was the reality of my situation, not what happened with you. That wasn't the reality." They're both reality. That's the struggle. One day you win, the next day you lose. That's addiction. That's what sucks about it. It's fucking. You can go off
lying though.
Yeah, it's like you can go from the biggest fucking. It's like a baseball season. It's long, and you could have a terrible streak and then be doing well, and then it's hard, man. So he says that he'd been told the whole incident was a result of a reaction to sulfa drugs he had taken for an upper respiratory tract infection. Yeah. So this is pretty fucking silly. He said that then the guy ends up saying, "More than likely it will happen again, and maybe next time he won't wake up. Maybe there will be a couple of pills too many, and when the next person puts his ear to Golden's mouth, he won't hear anything." So, also, there's his Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
This is from that article, too, about Joel Reese's article. He said he had left it at a house of a former girlfriend who is now demanding money for it. He said she was asking $2,500 to $3,000. When I visited with him several weeks later, he told me a variation of the same story, apparently forgetting that I had heard it before. I asked him how much she was asking. Quote, "I don't even remember. Something like $600, $700, $800, he said. I asked for the woman's name, but he said he didn't want to tell me, so the lawsuit he was about to file would surprise her. Jesus Christ. But at this moment, though, there's a guy who manages the Salt Lake's baseball cards, etc., a baseball card store. He said Golden's jerseys, shoes, and helmets, they have been coming in for sale, and he said they weren't that popular until he got arrested. He said within minutes of him being arrested, everything he had sold. He also said a friend of Golden's offered to sell him Golden's Super Bowl ring. He was asking $1,100 for it, and I offered about half of that to see how serious he was. Wow. $1,100. I don't think so. Well, he said he then recalled how he had met Golden years before and that Golden had let him see the ring. I held it in my hand. He said he'd call me back, but he never did. He was such a super nice guy. He made me feel like I was the greatest thing in the world because I was letting me try his ring on. He said, I have no thoughts at all that he still has it. I bet anything he doesn't. Yeah, no shit.
I want it.
Yeah, that would be, it's somewhere out there. Ring. There's some fucking dipshit Cowboys fan who's way overpaid for that shit, probably, right. I'm sure by now. Later in 93, he also worked as a machinist for his father-in-law's plastic fabricating plant.
Oh, my God.
But he went to work one day and slowly lapsed into incoherence.
Yeah.
His wife Amy's father, Stan, said he got almost non-functional. He got disoriented. My son took him home. He never did collapse. It wasn't as though he was really drunk. As he said at that point in time, he wasn't aware that he had taken anything. He said he thought somebody had put something in his soda as a joke, but I don't believe that. Yeah. No pills. Shit. He took pills. Duh. Hollywood Henderson says, when I read about Golden's arrest in the papers, I called him and got a message to him. I said, if you need help, give me a call. This is after because Hollywood's actually kept his life together for a long time now, for 20 years. He's kept it 30 years. Christ. He said, I said, if you need help, give me a call. He never called. I've been sober since 83. I was addicted to crack cocaine. He might think his addiction to pills is tough, but wait until you get your mouth around that little crack pipe. I wouldn't give him any money, any pills, but I can tell him what I've been through, the hell of addiction, and I know what it's like. But I also know the beauty of recovery, and I know how to live. But does Golden Richards want to live? I had to get over the myth of Hollywood. Can Golden get over the myth of Golden? Can he be John Richards? Mm-hmm. There you go. So June 2001, Golden is arrested again, sort of.
Yeah.
A Metropolitan Transit Authority bus driver is arrested in 1996. And they said he was finishing his route, which was at the Buffalo Bayou facility, which is also our police headquarters. And they said the bus driver told coworkers he played for the Cowboys and all this type of shit. So apparently this guy who got a job as a bus driver for the city here said he was Golden Richards and he played for the Cowboys and just told everybody he was Golden Richards. So
does he know the
yeah, he just thought that done? I guess the man was identified later on as Gordon Golden Richards. So but the real Golden Richards said, I have no idea what's going on. He said, people in Salt Lake City know that's not me. He's like, that's not me. So the Cowboys said that they emailed a picture of him, and they said they emailed the Cowboys and said, is this Golden Richards? And they said, no, it's not. So that's no, not the right guy. So they said that he said he was very happy. He lives in Salt Lake City. He said, it isn't me. I've never been happier. He said, I just feel sorry for this guy. I'm not in the judgment business. God is. I wish him well. I hope he gets a hold of his life. He also says he's divorced and does yard work to support his sons, and he lives on a, quote, small NFL pension. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know.
$800 a month.
No, I don't know what it was in 2001, but right now, if you retired in the 80s or 90s, you get between $3,000 and $5,640 a month.
That's not bad.
As your NFL pension. If you played more than, what is it, three and 3.75 years or whatever the fuck it is, which he did. He got all his time in. So, and then the amount is based on the number of seasons played as well. So He had 7 seasons. He gets a decent amount nowadays. By 2011, doctors have said because of his drug abuse and constant hits to the head and everything else. They have diagnosed him. They say they think that's the cause of this. They have diagnosed him with Parkinson's disease.
Oh, no.
So he's got Parkinson's now in 2011, which you can't do yard work with Parkinson's.
No.
Your edging would be terrible. It'd be the
your chainsaw work is
fucking dangerous. Dangerous. So he's living with his sons at this point, who are getting grown now. He's still alive, and was diagnosed with Parkinson's 10 years ago, and I see nothing about him. So I think he's probably kind of laying low and trying to get his life together here. I did find, and this is stupid, on BleacherReport.com, they had the 100 worst players in the NFL ever, which is dumb because you could take tons of players who played for 3 games and put them on the list. Instead, they have Golden at number 49, which I think that's
in the middle of the field.
I think that's bullshit because he caught a pass in the Super. He caught a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl that was a good play, and in the championship game the week before. That right there gets you off of this list. And I think it's stupid because the next guy is a guy named King Hill. You know who this guy is?
No.
King Hill. He's this fucking idiot quarterback who played for the Chicago Cardinals for a year and the Eagles for a while. He was a backup, and then the Vikings for a year and the Cardinals again for a year. He's a total draft bust. He was taken number 1 overall by the Chicago Cardinals and turned out to be a complete bust. He threw 31 interceptions in his whole career, 37 touchdowns, 71 picks.
Oh, my God.
Not good. And
for like 11 teams.
There's a documentary about a semi-pro team. It's like the Potsdam or Pottsville. I think it's Potsdam Eagles or something. It's on YouTube. It's from the 70s. It's this documentary about the semi-pro team, and he's the fucking quarterback on the team. Come on, King, and he's the most arrogant asshole in the history of the world.
For every touchdown, he's throwing 2 interceptions.
It's fucking terrible. And that's the guy below him. And sorry. This guy actually, Golden had a decent little career. Good for him. I feel terrible for him at this point because the drug thing that sucks. And, these guys would.
So shitty.
Yeah, he's not hurting other people, so it's hard to be mad at him. If he was robbing people for this drug addiction, that's a different story. But he's not. He
almost killed a college kid in the 90s.
He almost killed in the car. But, I mean, he's not hurt. He only hurts himself, and he's a fucking disaster. So it's like, Jesus Christ, I kind of.
When he's pilled up, he says hilarious things.
He says funny shit. That's the other thing. He's very, very funny. So that is good.
Did a woman tell you that?
It must have been a woman. All righty. This is nonsensical answer. So that's Golden Richards, everybody.
Wow.
And quite this goddamn story of just. I mean, now he's 73 years old, too. He's still hanging in there with Parkinson's. That's rough. If you like that story, tell everyone about it. Get on whatever app you're listening on. Find how to rate and review and give us 5 stars and say something nice. It really does help drive the show up the charts and let people know the show's still here and we didn't quit and we didn't stop and we kept it going. So thank you for doing that. As well as head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now. Get tickets for all the live shows that are for sale right now. Just added an extra show in Seattle and an extra show in Portland because the other one sold out very fast. First show is in Cleveland, February 10th. We cannot wait to see everybody. Get your tickets out there. New show that we're going to come out with now. A new weekly show, everybody. It's going to be an hour long or so, and it's going to be hilarious. We did it on Patreon before, and it's one of the most popular things we've ever done. We're going to talk about reviews, and it's a show called Your Stupid Opinions. And it's us reading people's reviews of everything under the sun you can think of. You think of the most obscure activity or business, there's a million reviews for it online, and we're going to find out that people will complain about anything, and it's going to be awesome. So we have so much fun with those. Check that out. It's going to come out the end of February, beginning of March, somewhere in there. Your Stupid Opinions. We cannot wait to get out there. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all the bonus stuff, everything, whole back catalog.
Yeah.
Huge, like 150 episodes. And every other week, if anybody $5 or above, you're going to get access to 2 new episodes every single week. 1 crime and sports, 1 small town murder. And for this week, it's no different. We are going to give you, for crime and sports, we're going to talk about the rise of fantasy sports. Where did it come from, and how did it take over the personalities of 80% of men from fucking September to February? How did this happen? What the hell is going on? We'll talk all about that. Then, for Small Town Murder, something very crazy. Kai, the hatchet-wielding hitchhiker, who has a documentary now about him. And
was he amazing?
He's a wild, crazy guy, and he's committed some murder, and we'll talk about him there. It's crazy shit, and everything, all that and more, and you get a shout-out. Where? Patreon.com/crime and sports. Like I said, anybody $5 or above. If you want to follow us on social media, that is excessively easy to do. At Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook. At Small Town Murder on Instagram. That said, Jimmie, hit me with the names of the people who would never, ever, ever take a whole bottle of Demerol and make us call the paramedics on them after lying to us about a toothache. Jimmie, hit me with them now.
This week's executive producers are Matt Britt, Michelle Miller, Dean Kerr, Patrice Wiktorescu, Wiktorescu, Ben Sullivan, and happy birthday, Jordan Bennett.
Happy birthday, Jordan.
It's a big day.
Hey, happy birthday, one of our faves.
You're not special.
One of our faves. Yeah, have your birthday. You and Simon have a nice day, and that's it.
Yeah.
The next day didn't happen anymore. It's done. It's over.
Other producers this week are Peyton Meadows, Darcy Stander, Paul Egan, Teddy Hart, Teddy Hart's Calico Butthole Foundation.
Oh, boy.
Frank Burchap, champion of the fantasy football, the Crime and Sports Small Town Murder Fantasy Football League.
See?
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Let's find out about what makes you this way.
Ty Adkins made a showing in it also. $17
job,
and a Casio. Happy hour at home in Marrero, Louisiana. Cynthia, Jean Willard, Catherine Collado, Janice Hill. Happy birthday, Jennifer Stevens. Sarah Surridge is waiting on Paul Gascione.
Gascoigne.
Yeah.
You know.
We'll get
Gaza,
there.
we'll get there.
Lucy Cuniff, happy birthday. Sue Heil Torres, Shitstains Family Foundation for Higher Learning, James. Other producers
nice.
also, Paul Johnson, Jackie with no last name, Carrie Ireland, Meg with no last name, Tim Beguret, Katie Ruddick, Matt DeLuke, nope, LeDuc, that's what it is. Cindy Bianchi.
Beautiful.
I wish I was better at this. Nick
boring,
Kruger,
man.
Sarah Smith, Nick Clark, Dustin Gray, Nicole with no last name, Quentin Casper, Gilly with no last name, Levi Wilson, Douglas Rydell, Emma Borelli, Lauren Veroff, I think, Bryce with no last name, Mary Meeker, Shauna Myers. Nope, that's just Sean. Sorry, Sean.
You just don't do too well. You just want to keep expectations low. That's all. You keep them low, you get celebrated for pronouncing fucking Rachel correctly, and it's fucking. So just keep doing that. It's good.
Kevin Wetclow, Angela Collier, I think. Roy, John Glancy, Sally West, Eileen Hoffman, Opathy one. Jessica P, Sarah Kinsler, Samantha Aleasy, Joshua Braun, Lee C, Naomi McKnight, Daniel with no last name, Dolph Lundgren, probably not, but I would
sure
hope so.
It is.
Telly McKay, Alyssa C, Taylor Church, Spencer Peterson, huge Crime and Sports fan, that guy. He loves it. He can't get enough. Charlie, Castany, Mel with no last name, Aspen Anders, Nanette Roberts, Daniela with no last name, Katie Martin, Chris with no last name, Jim Barbado, Nicole with no last name, Caitlin Froese, Kylie Rowan, Aaron Kennedy, Olivia Pracher, I think, Pracker, Joanna Tiefenthaler.
Yeah.
Tiefenthaler, Haley Moog, I think, Maug maybe, Zach Barlow, Sue Clark, Renee Welch, Heather with no last name, Michelle Craig, Andy Womack, Vanessa Kavanaugh, Savannah Pearson.
Nice and low, Jimmy, nice and low. Good job. You got to boot a grounder once in a while, so when you make a play in the hole, everybody notices, you know what I mean?
Vanessa.
Yeah, there you go.
Don, even Jimmy can pronounce this more. Rainbow, ASMR. Samantha Weiler, Dylan Hatcher, Joe Mama, Andy Smith, Colin Sebastian, Asia Redgrave, Corin, maybe Corrine. I don't know. Stevenson, Stephenson, maybe.
Corinne?
Who knows? Janet Walsdorf, Ryshawn Ralston Roach, Camden Whitney, Sean Young, probably not that one. Nick Smith, Riley Foster,
wearing a bat suit in the studio.
Earl Stevens, Amber Miller, Neville, maybe D. Kunha. Cassandra Nolan, Spencer with no last name, Wade McLeod, Andrew Bertram, John Hope, maybe Gene, Break the Mold, Shanika Morgan, Lisa Cox, Michael Velez, Rita with no last name, Chickadee Hill Cakes, Carrie with no last name, Christy Maverick, Teresa Blau, maybe Blow, Tiffany Tate, Paula Jordan, Colin Alexander, and Asti Bearcat, I think. There's no fucking way I'm pronouncing Butch Bearcat? Dick Man. Dickman, maybe. Dickman. Lori Jenkins. Jay Jubert, Dylan Hauer, Nelson Cologne, Stephanie Thompson, Jackie Whitaker, Jamie Tibbin Betts, Nokomis, McGinnis. Nokomis. Nakamomis. Vavi Arson, Samantha Plunkett, Jen Smith, Chelsea Mellick, Justin Mehi-Kobe, Reagan Fish, Anthony Alvarez Page with no last name, Robert Heiner, Callie with no last name, Mariella Sanchez, Cody Kenner, Paige Kunkles, Rice Schwitters, Rachel with no last name, Jorge Antonopoulos. What? How did I do that?
Not
Joyce,
bad. You
Joyce
mixed up,
Erickson.
You mixed up Spanish and Greek flawlessly, like a fusion restaurant that's got in their game. That was a good job.
Ruth DeFries, I think, Defries, John Burgoon, Kime Goit, what? C-Y-M-E, Kime? Chime. Chillamy. Daniel Antonabeto. See, I can't do it.
No, he can't. It's a lot. He sputters out after the third vowel. He's like, I don't know what's in there
Anto
anymore.
Benedetto. Bingo.
There you go.
Philip Johnson, Jenny Lyons, Stacy Gathers, Stephanie Russell, Elora guy, Jennifer DeMarco, Ala Medusa, Akaya Hardiman, Akia. It's Akia. What are we doing? Thomas Martin, Ivan Castillo, Daryl 6283, Nikki Kane, Pickles, no last name, Ian Holt. I think. See you in Portland, Ian. Bethany Hammonds, I think that's Ian. Ashley Martin, Rob Sanford, Allison S., Meredith Fisher, Abby with no last name, Robert Hogue, Liam Spurrell maybe, Lori with no last name, Samantha Sargent, Dylan Larson, Kevin Sullivan. Galina Gavilchik, Lily with no last name, Ian Furman, Jeff S., Lindsey Gillum, Jonathan Goldsmith, Danine, Sean Madden, Emily with no last name, Amanda Marble, Kaylin, Sinclair, Taylor Thomason, Jessica Defrost, Abby Shadoff, Jeremy Parsono, John Hennessy, Becca Moore, Paul Sally maybe, Kendall Martinez, Samuel Andrew Lowe, Liz Dunn Coel, Coel, Jen C, cool. Liz Sanders, Malcolm Dial, Jessica with no last name, Mackenzie Brockman, Vivian Vaca, Landon Doherty, Alexandra Shea, Robert Bowden, Cindy with no last name, Natalie Sue, Stephen with no last name, Zach Stewart, Alex McCombs, Sherry Bourne, and all of our patrons. You're fantastic.
Thank you so much, everybody, for all that you do for us, and we hope that you enjoy the small pittance that we throw back at you with our episodes.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything that you do for us, honestly. You want to follow us on social media, very easy to do. ShutUpAndGiveMeMurder.com. The links to anything show-related you could possibly want is all right there. So do that, find us, listen to Small Town Murder, listen to Small Town Murder Express, listen to Your Stupid Opinions when it comes out in a couple months, and keep coming, keep hanging out with us. We'll be back more live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.